Why is Sekiro one of the most hardest games in terms of From Software's titles, and also Souls-like alike when you really think about it? I'm going to give you my personal opinion on why Sekiro is so much harder than any other game I played. A lot of it is the reason why Bloodborne is challenging as well for a lot of people. It's really easy. It's very simple to describe it. What From Software did with Bloodborne and Sekiro, they focused on a mechanic. They focused on one mechanic and really exacerbated it. They really focused the entire game around that particular mechanic. For Bloodborne's case, it was totally their aggressive system, their rally system, which is to regain your health by attacking. So it promotes aggressive form of fighting. And in terms of its left-hand weapon to use for parry, that's what makes it difficult, because then you have to time the attacks on different enemies to be able to shoot the pistol just in time to be able to put that enemy into a stun lock, so you can do a visceral attack. Basically, you're just gut punching them to do major damage, or some of the beasts in there, it's like a butt plug. But in Sekiro's case, it focuses on the deflection system. But, well, I can't call it a system. It's a mechanic. It's just, you just deflect majority of the time in this game. It's either a regular deflection, which you just hold the sword up, or you time your deflection just in time as the attack, which will lead to a perfect deflection, which will flare like a golden color. And with that, because in Sekiro, each boss you have is going to have two different bars. It has their HP bar, which is on the left, which is red, and then there's their posture bar, which ends up turning, it's like a yellow that eventually turns red. And when that posture bar fills up entirely, it can bring you to the point where you can do a death blow on the enemies. That's even on the smaller enemies, and usually the smaller one it's consolidated, but with boss fights, it'll show you directly left side, that is their HP, in the center, that is their posture bar. It doesn't matter how much HP they have left in their bar. If that posture bar in the center fills up, which comes from doing a lot of perfect deflection and deflecting, you can do a death blow, and that can end the fight very quickly. And some of these bosses, they want you to do deflection majority of the time, and the whole idea is to fill that posture bar so you can do the death blow. So like the armored knight, you don't want to focus on chipping away at its health. You want to focus on doing as much posture damage as possible. And you had to learn over time, is either you block it or you get a prosthetic tool that can build up that posture bar very quickly. In this case, you wanted to have the axe for that. But if you were just going to go solo-handed with the sword here, you have to hit a lot of perfect deflections with that. And some people are just so gifted at doing that. That's what I mean by Sekiro just focusing on the bare minimum. It's the simplest thing but most challenging thing ever, because a lot of people don't have the patience to learn attacks. A lot of people are a lot more strategic with different things, and it's being aggressive and being in a boss face is not everyone's style of play. This is why From Software, when it made Bloodborne, it made it for the players who are not afraid to be aggressive in the game and is willing to attack and gain back their health, because their rally system really, when you get hit by a boss, you have the opportunity to gain back your health. Sekiro, you don't. Sekiro, it's about building the posture bar, and I know I'm repeating myself, but this seems like it's fitting with the narrative of Sekiro in the first place, because there are other games out there that adapt some of the mechanics in here, like Stellar Blade. It does have like a sword that does deflection, but that's not the only thing that offers anyway. That's why I don't even consider Stellar Blade a Souls-like. I don't even want to call Stellar Blade a Souls-like, because I like Stellar Blade for what it is. It's a hack and slash. It kind of reminds me of God of War in a way. Lies of P is something more you want to put in competition with these types of games, and Lies of P does not even fully fight like Sekiro. It's like a mix of the HP regain from Bloodborne with the rally system. They call it guard regain in Lies of P, and it adapted a deflection system, but they call it perfect guard or guard and stuff. But with that guard, that's how you are able to get your health back if you're aggressive. So, but it's like a passive aggressive that Lies of P plays on. So literally there is no illusion of options with Lies of P. There is several different options with Lies of P, because there's also throwables in Lies of P that you can use that will do major damage on bosses and enemies. Lies in Sekiro, let me not get confused here. Sekiro, you do get tools that can help do posture damage on certain enemies, especially Lady Butterfly with using the shuriken, because when she's up in the air like that, you hit her with the shuriken, she falls off and it does major posture damage. Like I said before, the main idea is to build up that posture bar. And what is the way to build up posture bar? Is using either perfect deflection or just really getting a lot of different counter attacks that just builds it up, or using at the right time the right prosthetic tool to be able to get as enough posture damage as possible. That's also using certain fighting skills in here, like the Mortal Draw does major like posture damage, and it chips at the health bar as well if you can land it. But the issue with some of the fighting arts in this game is the animation time is so long. It takes so long to have Mortal Draw work for you, but once you time it right and you're able to use it, it does so much damage on enemies, building up their posture bar, taking down their HP bar as well, because when you do take down the HP bar little by little, they do not recover their posture bar. You're in the same dilemma as well. You have a posture bar that's building up over time, and there's some buffs that you can help remedy that, but at the end of the day, you have to hold the block button to be able to like take down your posture bar a little bit. So that means you have to get away from your enemy to be able to bring down that posture bar again, or you have to use a buff so it doesn't build up enough. But at the end of the day, it kind of still, you end up having to be in the boss's face to do deflection. They want you to stay in the boss's face. They want you to deflect and counter like an endless dance that makes you sick at the end of the day. But it's the only way to get the boss fight done quickly, because otherwise you can play for a good 12 minutes on a boss. Do you really want to spend 12 minutes trying to beat a boss? Is it really that worth it? I know for me, it was like, what am I doing with this? Because I like Sekiro for different reasons, and that is because it makes my head hurt. Oh my god, I'm so masochistic. So really, I just wanted to play a game that I thought I could probably overcome and become a different person with this game, in terms of playing difficult games and playing them how the developer intended you to play, even though it's just like they even throw in a mag ton of bad habits in here. even though in the beginning they tell you that you need to dodge when the thing flares up, when they're going to do like a fatal attack or an attack that you can't block, you don't want to dodge. That is the wrong idea. You actually either want to run out of the way or you want to fucking jump. So unless you like acquire the skill at the Mikuri counter, but not all attacks are going to be like a lunge attack. So you have to be mindful of all of that. It means you have to visually see if that enemy is going to do like a piercing attack. And if you learn over time their habits, I guess you can. But it's like you're going to be dying like over 30 some times. And there is things that can build up your attack power, but it's just like it's so expensive and you're going to be farming so much to be able to bring up your attack power. Of course, there's only a certain amount of prayer beads you can get and collect to create the bracelets that will bring up your max vitality and bring up your posture bar. But in terms of your attack power, like you gain that either by beating major bosses and getting their memory, or you purchase all the mask pieces to create the dancing dragon mask. And then to actually gain additional attack power, you have to spend 5 skill points. That's a lot of XP farming that you have to do. And this game is actually not that long. It got different areas. It may seem massive, but it's very linear and it's small. And you'll be spending a lot of time farming. So Lies of P, even though it was built similarly where it's linear and you're progressing each stage and level, it may seem massive, but it's not. It's a game that you can get through in 30 hours, but legitimately it gives you so many options because the perfect guard in Lies of P is not their sole mechanic. They didn't build it solely around perfect guard. They built it around you can guard and be aggressive, gain back your health, you get throwables, you learn the different things that the enemy's weak to, like electricity and poison or acid or fire. So you're given so many different other options. Of course, in Sekiro, they kind of do, but it doesn't do any damage because, like I said in the beginning, and I'm not going to stress it enough, the focus is on the posture bar. Like when you even use the flame vent, it does not even bring down the health bar of the enemy. Even when you use the axe, it doesn't really do much either. All it does, it builds up the posture bar fast, but if you get locked in a situation where you have to get away from the enemy for a while, guess what? They recover their posture bar. And then it's like you just wasted a bunch of spirit emblems to not have any results, especially at least if you use the mortal draw, it brings down the HP bar, because at a certain point when the HP bar is down low enough, the enemy can't recover their posture bar. It still remains the same, so you can just slowly build upon that. Now, I know I'm ranting a lot about this, but that's only because that's what I believe that makes this game more difficult, is because it gives like somewhat of an illusion you have options, except it doesn't. It gives you this bad habit of stealthing around enemies to do death blows and to be sneaky and strategic, when in reality, once you hit a main boss, that's not going to be a case unless you find a cheese. Like just recently, I released a video of me doing a major cheese on the Demon of Hatred, and I was laughing because I was able to, fool was able to do that cheese, and it worked. And I was like, the health bar on the Demon of Hatred, it was a lot. It's 3 health bars. I'm like, obviously the Sword Saint has 4 health bars, and it makes me sick when I think about it, because there was only twice I was able to make it to its 4th stage. But yet again, it's the same thing. You have to fight aggressively, and it's not my play style, which mind boggles me. I've been playing this game rather well. In total, it's been 26 hours, especially with being stuck on certain bosses, especially the owl. And, you know, and I've done the owl twice. I did the regular owl from Breaking the Iron Code and the one in the memory. And the one in the memory is a lot harder than the one that's in the top of the tower, okay? So, when you think about all of that, how the developer wants you to play this game is ignore all the other options it gives you and just learn deflection right off the bat, and then filling up your skill tree with not bullshit fighting arts, but with actual things that actually makes the deflection and posture. Like if you are like, there are certain skills in the skill tree that can bring up posture damage with each perfect deflection. You just have to look for it. All the other ones, I think you just need to ignore, especially the one that is for the fighting arts that you get from the Sunpu Temple. Just ignore that entirely. Now I regret putting skill points into that. A lot of it is just being so strategic and then just getting used to just fighting enemies head on, no matter what small enemy it is. I mean, if you want to use prosthetic tools on it, I have, but just remember, I'm like, when it comes to the boss fight, you're gonna have to learn every like move set they have. You have to be able to see their attacks, and a lot of the times the things I hate about most Souls game, does even with Lies of P, is the fact that the lock-on sometimes slips off or they get out of range, and then you're like, where did the boss go? And then they hit you from behind, and it's annoying. There's also another issue I've had with Sekiro is the fact that because it's so linear and they had a lot of small spaces, some of the enemies, especially the lone shadows, they were in tight spaces, and guess what? When you're locked into a wall, the camera angles, you don't even see your character anymore. So there's all those issues. So a lot of the times it just was me luring the enemies out. And, you know, there's few little issues I've had with all games like this, but at the end of the day, I'm just not a fan of Sekiro as other people are, mostly because of, like I said before, I don't fight aggressively. I don't like being in a boss's face all too much. I don't like having options to be able to win a boss fight, because at least even with Elden Ring, you have a lot of options to be able to win. I mean, Elden Ring is Elden Ring anyway. I'm like, you can actually summon help with Elden Ring. The same thing with Bloodborne. You can summon help for that as well. And even in Dark Souls, from what I can remember, I believe you could actually summon people in. I know, even some of my gaming crews, they just try to duel each other as well on that game. So I know it's possible, with certain items you get. So it's just like, at the end of the day, you could actually beat those games. Sekiro, because you're on your own in this and it doesn't give you so much, it's like you either just get lucky or memorize all of this and get used to deflection and getting the posture bar down as quickly as possible without you dying. You're golden. And I believe after this video, I'm not going to play any more Sekiro. I think I'm done. I'm exhausted. I've been playing this for quite a few days, sparingly, like an hour each day, trying to figure out how to tackle it and get through. I even prolonged on streaming for a while because I couldn't stream this game. I had to focus. I'm like, I really just wanted to try my hardest to beat this game, and I almost got there. I got back to the Sword Saint. I am actually at a higher attack power. I have all my vitality and posture bar built up, and still it's not even enough. It's just a stressful, exhausting game that just, I don't know. I'm just going to put it on the back burner again until next time. But either way, thank you for listening to me rant. I am done. You have a good evening.